Okay, no issue. So how many we have? We have 131 now. That's good. Now, yesterday I came with an idea. I think one of you asked me a question. I can't remember who asked me that question. He said, when we're teaching online, kids are playing on their computers and doing other things. What can we do with that? We said family has a responsibility and stuff like that. But came an idea to me yesterday is on this Menti itself, if the first question I ask people to give me their name, so they have entered their name, and then later when I ask question, Menti will tell me who answered this question. Now, for you, I'm not doing it because I want you to be more open and say whatever you want to say. But that's the one also way we can use it. So the first question on Menti is just open-ended question. People enter their name, and then the following questions will show you if the students are really participating or not participating, because you will get a report at the end in an Excel format with all the student details and response and everything. So that may be one thing you can use to engage them. And I'm sure you have your learning management system. You have so many other tools that you can direct them to that one to see if they are really contributing. And every few minutes or 5 minutes, 10 minutes, post something, and that maybe can make them busy. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today we'll be continuing talking about the virtual school. So last time we spoke about those different technology that people are predicting or they are using now. We use the Gartner curve or Gartner chart to predict or get an idea of what are the hype now, what are the things that people are talking about it, and what expected to come to the plateau after some time. We notice some of them will take 2 years to get there, some of them take 10 years, and some of them will get lost between, and people start the technology and get interested about it. They talk about it everywhere with a little application, but later with the time they find the application is not going, it goes down. So that may be a mechanism to tell us what the technology that we can use as a mechanism. We looked at the key pillars of virtual school, e-learning, or school. It has something to do with school in general, and we discussed those components. We looked at a number of those applications that are available now for different things, managing learning, creating content authoring tools. The number of them we did not also mention, like Nearpod and others that people are using, but we'll just give an example. Virtual reality, augmented reality, artificial intelligence in robotics, and those different technologies which schools are using and faculty are using at different levels, at different schools. They are available now, and they have a potential, and these companies are working on developing it. Each company has a roadmap. If you look at the Microsoft Teams, for example, they have a roadmap, what they want to include in the future. You look at all those providers who are providing this technology have a roadmap that they go through. It depends on the development of the technology, the other technologies happening at the same time, and so other things. And these roadmaps can give us an idea what will happen there. What's more important is how we engage the student into the learning and how we meet the program learning outcome. That's why we're doing the whole thing, is just to make sure that we are servicing the student, developing them, and getting them to the level that they can learn on their own and they can solve problems. And we looked at the Bloom taxonomy, which very common thing. And we looked at the 2 levels of Bloom taxonomy, the learning journey that can students go through. This learning journey will keep changing based on the practices that faculty and teachers are developing, based on the technologies happening, and based on the social and economical impact. And we looked at one of the research paper that look at different levels that can interact or encourage or influence the student to engage into using educational technology and technology in general. We had a discussion on this generation are technology ready and they know how to do technology, which I agree with that. But I think the one issue with that one is they are good at using technology in certain areas and they lacking sometimes the fundamental things that will help them to grow. So the majority of them maybe do not like programming, which are very fundamental for them to solve solution on for the future, the coding ability. But they are good at social media, playing game and finding their way around things, which great, we should take advantage of those skills, but still they need to get into the technology skills that will help them to develop, which related to critical thinking, problem solving, and coding is one of the great things that can help with that. So more coding, I think, will help. So today, I thought we look at how we can be ready for this. There's so many things happening, and some of it in our maybe control, and many of it are not in our control. So how we get ready? And I think the way to do it is the school has to have a strategy for virtual school or online learning or distance learning, whatever name you call it. Have a strategy to be ready for the futures on what's going to happen in the futures. And today we'll spend some time discussing that one and looking at the maturity level of our schools and organizations. Okay, so just run you through just a quick video from Blackboard team, and then we'll go into the next thing.
E-learning has become a part of an institution's core. There are very few institutions, both at the community college or four-year university area, that have not embraced e-learning in some capacity.
We look at it, it's really how a student interacts with the institution. And then from the institution's perspective, how does the student engage and interact with the different services in a way that reflects the values of the institution, how an institution operates, and it's connected from end to end, from the beginning, even from the first contact with that student all the way through to their alumni experience.
They're trying to make their learning opportunities more convenient for the students they have in order to keep them, or they're looking to increase enrollments by adding more online learning or e-learning options.
We look at 5 major categories, which would be faculty and staff development, the quality of the courses being developed and course development process, the student services part, and then the governance, who's in charge of what and where are the responsibilities.
What's the vision of the institution? How big do you want to get? Where are you going? Where are you now? What's your capability now? What's your organization look like now? Where are you with your accreditation when it comes to online learning? Are all of those ducks in a row for you to move forward? Who's going to be in charge of quality for online learning? How are the faculty going to be trained? What are the consequences of not having quality programs on campus?
Is really looking at the whole student life cycle from the first time they would make contact with the institution until they graduate.
We're seeing a much more complex environment being created, and technology is having a huge effect. The ability not only to deliver those services, but also to think differently about how to engage the students where they are, when they have time, and in a manner that's the most appropriate for them.
And in order to be successful and be a player in this space and be competitive, the school, the institution needs to have a reason for doing it, and they need to have a process. And that's where the strategic planning comes into play.
Student information needs to flow from one system to the other to make sure that you can give help to them when they need it. So you're not searching all over the place to try to find information about the student when they're asking for help.
How are you organizationally set up so that you can support and deliver online learning or e-learning?
Thinking about that experience for the traditional age student, for that adult student, for the graduate student, for a professional student, all these different aspects, it's going to be slightly different in the digital domain, with different demands and different needs.
When we do strategic planning engagements with clients, There is no cookie cutter approach. Every one of them is custom. It is based on where the institution is at that moment and where they want to go. And at Blackboard, we have a learning matrix, a quality learning matrix with 25 boxes. And in those 25 boxes, we've identified all the different things that you really should have in place or be thinking about if you're going to be successful and be a big player. Are you doing online learning to keep the students you have from leaving by making it more convenient for them? Or are you really trying to increase enrollments? Or is it both? What is your plan to make sure that your institution is ready to receive those additional enrollments, both from a faculty perspective and a support perspective and a services perspective?
Okay, that's good. By the way, today on Mentimeter, I enabled something called comments or questions. I think you can post questions on every slide. This is the one thing in Menti now. So you'll find the way, I'm sure on your phone, you can add questions. So I can see if there are any questions, I go to it on that slide. There is a way I can make it moderated, so not all questions will appear to everyone and things like that, but I just left it as it is, but there is a setup to do that. So this work about the strategy, importance of strategy, why we're doing it, why we're doing e-learning strategy, and the two things she spoke about, enrollment, one thing is other thing, I would say better than saying making it easy for the student and convenient. The convenient side is not really the most important. The most important is what they are getting out from that one is their learning, their development, and their growth, which is important. And technology can help with things that are difficult to do it physically sometimes because of safety, because of resources, or because of other things. Technology can also help with that one. So when you look at a strategy, I think these are the components that we can work on it. We need to have a vision. We need to have a mission. And then we need to get a strategic goals and then specific objective for that goals and look at how they are dependent on each other and mapping them in a nice way. You need to have some initiatives that will help you realize those objectives and those goals you need. And you need to have a measure in place. For sure, you need a budget and you need a continuous review cycle to make sure that strategy is working and is producing the outcome that it should. I like this. Now I can see what accreditation is recommended for virtual school. Now I can talk about the university side. Schools, I'm sure you know better than me. The university locally, we have the local accreditation, CA, in the ministry, and they have their standard for e-learning component, and that we can go. The international accreditation will go for IBET and AACSP and all those different accrediting bodies, WASC and others. They have also their requirements if you're going to offer a course in terms of the percentage, in terms of the mapping, in terms of the resources, in terms of the evaluation and mechanism. Those things are all there and which in place, we can say. Oh, that's one question. Now make it answers. What strategies are more effective for especially blended students in a virtual learning? I didn't understand blend. I think this is the good thing with the technology. What does it mean? For me, it's a new one. So having a full range. Oh yeah, I agree. If you have a mix of students in e-learning, there's something called adaptive learning, where you can create different routes for the student. They can go through. Some of them can go faster, some can go slow, some can do based on their style of learning. They are more visual, they are more, so you can have all those different types of tools, and you need to design it. We'll come later to the instructional design of these components in a way that help achieving allowing all students to benefit from that one. This is nice. I'm not going to spend all the time answering all questions. I'll answer some of them. Are the strategies mentioned in the video tested? Since this is from Blackboard. They are specialized in this area. They spent years working on it. I'm sure it's tested, and strategies work. Depends on the team who are really implementing that strategy. Strategy is very nice. You can have a very nice strategy, but there is no follow-up, no mechanism, no buying in from the team. It will not work like anything else. And the mechanism is working, and I think it will develop because nothing is really stay as it is, because the requirements change, the technology change, everything change. Since as well, all the aware of the online learning in school is not applied for long time. Yeah, okay. How can we effectively challenge our student using technology with distance learning? I think get them to create things, get them to problem solve, get them to show their ability and creativity to do it, let them present and those things. There's so many scenarios you can do. For example, if you give them a math problem to solve it, they can solve it. But what if you get them to put it in a computer and get it solved by a computer and come with some model that they change so that data will change. If you try something called Wolfram Alpha, it helps you to visualize the math and create a model that you can change parameters and data will change. If you get them on those technologies, it will challenge them, will excite them, and also would help with many things. In this way, if we continue, we will not, I will not be able to finish my, but this is a good way. It's working, it seems it's working. I'll come back to it. If you have some, if you think some of the questions are very important, we'll go back to it. But this is a nice way to get the Q&A instead of the chat. You notice it's really nice. Okay, so now let me ask you a question. You're asking me a question now. It's time for you to answer this one. Does your school have an e-learning or blended learning or online learning strategy? Very good. Okay. Very good. Yeah, while you do that, I will look at those. They are the same questions stays here. So I'm learning with you as well. Thank you very much. I've attended all sessions, future school, but struggling to get access to the session recording assignment. Okay, well, I'll go through that one. Hopefully I'll show you how you can do that if you get time later. How do you start forming a committee and making them really part of the development of the virtual school? What is the first step? Yeah, I think the first step you need a vision. The vision is important, and you come with the right vision. I don't like those long vision that you need to spend time going through reading it. Look at a vision like Microsoft Vision in the 80s when they said, we will, our vision is to have a personal computer at every home and every desk. That's very clear. That was a clear vision that people can see. That's the objective. At that time, they were not in the stage to make it happen just on the same day. They need years to get it there, and they moved ahead and managed to get it there. So that's a clear vision that you need. Vision that deal with where you want your organization, inspire people, and get the people really understand how it's important and buy into that vision. So that's a very important step. And then your leadership should really believe in it and not just a way to do it. And get people to feel this is for them and help them, and it has their development, their growth, their advancement, and it will help them in one way or another. And it needs lots of leadership and work and team forming and solving problems and It's not an easy task like any strategy, and you are in the leadership, you've been dealing with this one for many years. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. Oh, this if in Arabic work. Yeah, the question was about innovation, how we can make this innovation effective. Innovation is not really coming with an animation or something moving the screen and doing things like that. It should be more than that. It's solving a problem in a different way and producing a value better than the normal value in place. We should try to avoid just dumping those technologies without really making sure they are work. Use just one technology, find an effective way to make it useful to the student and to the team, and then use it for some time until it becomes really more mature. And then you can move to the next one if there is a need to move for next one. But bringing so many technologies at the same time is not really a solution. Technology will not bring the innovation, but the way you're going to use the technology, that will help. It will support, of course, if it's used the right way. As the technology changes, will improve time. How can, okay. I'll come back to this question, sorry for that. Let's continue. This is good. I can see many of you have strategy. This is great. 70 out of 82 had strategy and 12, they are currently working on it. Only one do not have. Now I can follow up with a question on this one. Are you happy with your strategy? Is it working? Is it producing the results? I didn't do that. So let's look at that. So we have a strategy now. Or these are the components of the strategy. What are we going to get out of this strategy? Now I have put a few things here. I'm sure you can add more, and that will be my next question to you. So be prepared. So we need a curriculum. We need a virtual school curriculum ready that has the right content, has the right learning pathways, is adapt to all blend or type of student and abilities and the way they learn, and it should be more engaging and helping students to develop learning beyond just the basic requirement. You need that strategy should come with a plan to get that curriculum and produce that curriculum when you implement it. The second thing, you need an e-learning manual. I think most of you schools have now e-learning manuals, because one of the standards that been requested by different accrediting bodies, which help student, faculty, administrations, and everyone to see how the e-learning will be implemented, how it will be developed, how it will be evaluated, and what are the tools being used, and what some of the mechanism to use those tools and technology, pedagogy, and different type of things. We need a technology. So the strategy should come, you should come out from that strategy with a clear framework for the technology for your schools. What are the core technology we'll use, how this technology will talk to each other, how we will be able to maintain them, how they can be used into the classroom and outside the classroom, and those technologies, core technologies and framework for how they work together to produce the result is important. So that should be there. There should be a technical support manual. People can go and find solutions. Teaching and learning best practices or pedagogy should also be highlighted that the school subscribe to. And I know some schools do not want to limit faculty to anything, but if there is a set of them that with some examples and where they can be used, and it depends on the level of the student, you're dealing with a more complex situation than us in the university. You have so many levels and different needs and requirements, and you go for a wider list maybe. Faculty professional development program that maybe has some certifications and maybe some recognition, and that is linked to their own courses and teaching and group of students dealing with, and they keep faculty upgraded. So we need to come with that one from the strategy. Student orientation and training. Parents, again, important. I know students, we expect they know everything and how they can use technology, but in some situation, we have to help them to get into that and give them orientation, and at least on the best way to use it, the ethical side of it, those things that important. Parents also, because parents now are part of the game more than before, and with the distance learning, they're supposed to be part of it more than before, and because they have access to it, and policies and procedures that govern all the things you want to do. So these are some of the deliverables that will come out from the strategy. After you develop the strategy, there are more than this, which you will tell me. Do you think that by the pass of time, technology use will be at the expense of the? No, I don't think. We are human. We will not, I think, be allowing it, because we are the educators. We are the people who are there. I think technology will be something to help us and support us, but it will not, I think, dictate unless we don't have the right leadership in the organization. Yeah, maybe. But if we have the right leadership, it will help and it will improve so many things. But it's not going to replace the pedagogical objective. The pedagogical objective are the one that we are working on, and we're using technology to achieve that one. I don't think that is a separate team necessary to be set to have a good technology framework. I'll come to this one in the next one. When we say curriculum, we mean content. Yeah, I think you're right. Here we meant everything, yeah. But usually people talk about curriculum is the learning outcome and learning program learning outcome, course learning outcome, and those assessment and syllabi and those mapping with the different things. But here we meant curriculum, we meant that plus the content plus the strategies of assessment and the tools we'll be using and all those things. So the curriculum is bigger in this one. No questions from the audience. Oh, very good. Okay. What else is missing? So that's my question. I put this one. What else is missing? I gave you a hint that I'm going to ask you this question, so you should be prepared. So what else can be added? Student code of conduct. Yeah, good. Yeah. Is that not onto the e-learning manual? If I show you our e-learning manual, that's part of it. It's linked to it, and it has a section. If you look at the CA stipulation, I can't remember the stipulation, but in the standard, there is a stipulation, has all the details need to be in the e-learning manual, and one of it is student code of conduct. It's there, yeah. Assessment, yeah. Okay, if we get a curriculum outside the assessment, but the assessment also are two levels. One is assessment of the strategy and the effectiveness of the work, and the assessment of the course learning outcome. It can be student and staff well-being, yes, policy, and that again, it can be part of the e-learning manual. ICT agreement for personal use, yes, agree. Accountability of staff, practical issues in the student environment. Yeah, I need to know more about this one. Then parent code of conduct, okay, can be again, all those conduct can be part of the e-learning manual, but they can be in the policies as well. There's a policy for code of conduct, which again here, which we will look at it later. That's good, yeah. E-learning assessment policy, yeah, it's a good one, yeah. There is a, we'll look at the structure later. We'll have people who are dealing with this exactly. Evaluation. This is a great team. Thank you really for all this. Now I'll just give you credit for that. I know it is on the last, almost last day of the week. It's a holiday time, and we still have 195 people participating. This is really amazing. Now I need some help from some of you later in the future. If you want to run workshops or anything for the rest of the schools, please contact me. We can arrange for that one, and we can, as you know, we have the Education 2050 program, which we're launching very soon by our expert in education team, our education department, and they will come and do that. I'm sure we will share with you all the details to register and do more. Okay, good. So now how we can structure this team? Now we need to create a strategy. What should be included in the strategy? So here, there's some proposal here. You need a steering committee, which is the leaders of the school, who will be part of that one, to meet every month or to look at the progress and set high-level expectations and do all this one. You need a project leader who should be responsible of that. And then we proposed here to have those different groups of people. So you can merge them, you can expand them, you can add others, but we'll be talking about each one of it and what their mandate. So we need someone to look at the strategy and readiness. We need to look at the curriculum and e-learning journey and design, technology infrastructures, finance and budgeting. There's a cost here, and there is also hopefully revenue generation if we do it right, and maybe we'll attract more students and do something like that. Governance and accreditation, where here the policies developed and reviewed and all the other related to the accreditation. Staff and teachers skill development. We need a group to work on that one. Usually they start by training needs analysis first, finding what skills they have and the training they want to have, and then how they go. And then we need to use marketing and enrollment to make advantage of this e-learning or virtual school. So here I put a few more details on each one of this. Just I want to watch the time, not to spend too much time on this. These are the mandate, put around 3 to 5 bullet points on mandate of each one. So for example, the strategy and organization readiness, a group who make sure this strategy will be developed and it will be executed rightly and coordinated, and people are doing things on time and finishing, they're doing all things while they are busy with other things. So they need to evaluate the school current strategy readiness and organization readiness and e-learning landscape, which you will operate within. They need to develop the strategy directions of the e-learning, including mission, goals, other things. They will liaise with other components leader. Each one of this, we're calling it a component. A component, so you use the component word later. So the component liaise with them, and will develop 5 to 10 years transition roadmap, including priorities, initiative, dependencies, KPIs, and all those different components, and then lead and go through that. So we have some questions here. Research is important, you are right. This is very good. Research and then came after R&D. You need, yes, I agree. This is very good. I think, again, the e-learning itself is an opportunity for the faculty to develop research. They generate lots of data and knowledge on that one, and it's where you can research. Also, you research the best practices, and research the different technology you use, and research all those things. Of e-learning and face-to-face, how the two will work together. This is important. You'll have those blend thing. Very good. See, today I don't need to go to Q&A or chat. I know there's so many chat there, but today we have a better mechanism, maybe. How I create good vision. Yeah, that's we need a special session. and we need to bring you the expert in that one from our business department. I thought Anne did a part of that one when she was talking about those scenarios, but that's something we can do some other times for sure. You skipped my question. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to skip it. So I apologize for that one. You can ask it again, and hopefully I will answer it. Okay, curriculum and learning journey. I don't know the names, as you can see, yeah. This is again here where they develop the curriculum and develop all the assessment strategy and look at the learning journey of the student and to make sure that curriculum and learning journey work together and come with so many different of e-learning technologies, components to help. The important thing in this one, in my opinion, the instructional design is a very core component in making sure that the curriculum we design, it will help the student, it will engage the student, and it doesn't become just visual clicking and stuff like that. It should have related to the pedagogy, again, the assessment and learning outcome. So that's very, very important. This is why I have a quick video for you here on the instructional design and the importance of that into the e-learning.
So if you're new to e-learning, there are some really important things you need to know about instructional design and how it relates to e-learning. And we're going to look at those today.
Sure.
Of learning and development, it's always important to apply really good instructional design techniques to make sure that you're creating content that helps learners perform better rather than just know better, right? Because there's a big difference between knowledge and performance. And so I want to talk today about 4 really important things that you need to know about instructional design as it relates to e-learning. So let's jump right in. All right, number 1, clicking doesn't always create meaningful interactivity. What do I mean by that? Well, when you're new to e-learning, one of the things that you're bombarded with is the importance of making your e-learning content interactive, right? And when I was new to e-learning, I thought that just meant adding some buttons on the screen to reveal some content. But the truth is, it's not about creating interactivity, it's about creating meaningful interactivity. And creating interactions where the learner clicks on the screen is not enough to make that interactivity or those interactions meaningful. There is a big difference between interactions that are completely passive and interactions that force learners to use their critical thinking skills to make a decision. Let me give you an example. Let's say I create an interaction where there's a button on the screen, the learner clicks on it, and it reveals some content, right? For them to read or listen to or whatever. What sort of critical thinking skills or knowledge did the learner have to apply
Dr. Hamad, you got muted.
of options?
Yes.
And they have to pick one, right? They click on it and something else happens, right? They make a decision and then there's a result of that decision. And it might be a good decision or it might be a bad decision. And then maybe they need to make another decision after that, right? So what sort of knowledge did they need to apply there? Well, they needed to hopefully apply knowledge that they learned previously in the course to make that decision. And that's really the difference between meaningful interaction and just passive interaction. So clicking does not make interactions meaningful. All right, so number 2, knowledge and behavior aren't mutually exclusive. So one of the things that frequently happens when you're working with a stakeholder or a subject matter expert when building an e-learning course is they will want to stuff that course with as much information as possible because they believe that the more information we provide the learners, the better they will be at their jobs. And the truth is, no, knowledge and behavior aren't mutually exclusive. The more information you provide the learner doesn't mean you're going to get more performance, right? Learners only need the minimal amount of information necessary in order to perform a task. No more, no less. And so when you're building a course and you are evaluating your content, you need to evaluate whether or not the knowledge you're providing actually benefits better performance or not. If you're filling your course with fun facts, additional information that's not relevant to the behaviors, strip that content out. It will not increase the performance of your learners at the end of the day because knowledge and behavior aren't mutually exclusive. All right, number 3, e-learning isn't always the right solution. As an e-learning designer or as an instructional designer, it's really important that I am really objective about what sort of learning or performance issues can be fixed with an e-learning course or not. And oftentimes e-learning isn't always the right answer. Sometimes learning isn't the answer. So maybe sometimes you do a needs analysis and you find that there's a performance issue that's caused by a lack of motivation or an environmental issue that simply can't be fixed with any sort of learning intervention, e-learning or not. But even if there is a knowledge or performance issue, sometimes e-learning won't fix it either. Sometimes people need to be in a classroom where they can socialize with other students, or sometimes they need to be able to practice their job in real life and get coaching and feedback. Sometimes those sorts of interventions are way more powerful than e-learning alone. So it's really important to know that e-learning is not always the right answer. All right, my 4th and final tip for instructional design for e-learning is that e-learning is so much more than just instructional design. It's so easy when we're building an e-learning course to think about purely the instructional design or the quality of the instructional design when developing that course. But it's also important to remember that e-learning is so much more than instructional design. E-learning, you have to take into account graphic design and visual communications and user interface design. So how is that course going to look? How am I going to visually communicate my ideas to my learners so they can see what I'm saying? And how is the learner going to interact with that course? Is it going to be easy to use? Is it going to be intuitive? E-learning is so much more than instructional design. All right, folks, so those are my 4 instructional design tips for e-learning.
Thank you. I think he summarized it very well, I think. And can see there is a question here. Could you guide on how to access the session recording and assignment? Okay, I'll do that before the end of the session. Thank you. So instructional design important, and here talking about those different components that we need to do as well in terms of related assessment, pedagogy, and all those components we will be creating, videos, simulation, labs. Those group are the people who will manage the creations of the content and development. So they will be very busy group. It's important to have the right group. You should have the faculty there. You should have the administrator there, technology, student as part of it. Finance and budgeting, I think we'll go faster on this one. These people will look at how this e-learning will impact. They will look at the cost of that one, the budget they're going to be having to do it, and also the return on investment and stuff like that. The technology people, they need to come with a technology landscape. So they need first to assess the current one, what we have now, based on the requirement of the teams and what are different practices in the school, and then what are the gaps in that one, and come with a new landscape that will meet the future's need of the organization and those potential technologies. And they are the people who will evaluate so many different technologies, will pilot them, will get the faculty to use them for some time, come with a mechanism of selecting them, and then putting them part of the process. They will identify the initiatives within the transformations roadmap to bridge the technology and infrastructure gaps. So between what they have now, what they need to have in the futures. This group also will be very busy. Then come the staff development, faculty and staff. I think it's important to train faculty, absolutely. but also important to train others, staff and admin people who are in the organization or the school to be able to support the faculty, understand what the faculty are doing and challenges they're facing and student facing. I think it's very important. What I think should be done first is coming with a training need analysis, surveying all the faculty you have and running sort of an assessment, self-assessment. I would prefer the self-assessment more than formal assessment, where faculty and teachers and others assess their readiness, and you put it in terms of curriculum development, in terms of delivery and engagement with the student. You put it in terms of use of those different type of technologies and platform you have in place. You come with the set of questions. We developed a very nice assessment which we used for our holding company and produce really nice results. And from that one, you come and design the training requirement. That's one of the source for your training program and certification. Also, the other source is what you want to do in the future, which you now, it's not on the ground, but it's a plan that you need to do in the future, and you also include that one in. I see there is a question. I hope this is not the one I skipped. What solution are best when students do not have the infrastructure, devices, internet, or electricity? That's a difficult questions to answer. These are, if you are in a distance learning or online learning and you don't have those minimum things, devices, then become challenging. For sure, you can record this thing. You can maybe send it to them, or maybe find a donation from I don't know, find a way to get that one. But they need those devices to do something. And in the past, people used television. Okay, is the television good enough? If we have no infrastructure, no devices, no internet, no electricity, then we need to find a very minimum solution. Maybe those centers we have in those cities or villages where we have recording the material and put it there and get them group to sit together and watch TV and things like that. This is difficult to answer. Okay, now what else? Oh, what is this group which I missed to put in? Yeah, this is the accreditation. This is the governors and accreditation. I think I missed, yeah, surely I missed it. So this we were looking at the industry and accreditation requirement. So for schools, you have your accreditation from the Ministry of Education, from ADEC, from KHDA, from all the different entities. And this group need to see the requirement if there is any standards for e-learning. As I said, in the university, we have standards already in place. So we have to go with that standard. Schools, I'm sure they have standards you need to go through. I'm sure our team who will come next week in January, I'm presenting the other program. They are more aware of the standards because they are in education and they know all those standards very well, better than us. So they can tell you about that. But it's important to satisfy the accreditation and industry standards, then ensure that the delivery and quality compliance with the accrediting as well. This is also here maybe on the curriculum and policies you have here more into the delivery. And here, these are the policies. For us, with the CA, there's so many policies in place. All the conduct policies, you spoke about it, are there, the assessment as well, the proctoring of the assessment and strategies and all those different components are part of it. So this we will ensure that they meet all the accreditation requirement, and also they have a quality assurance in place system to evaluate the delivery of e-learning. Here question, hello, good evening, thank you. A small question. There is saying, work smart and not hard, okay, which works most of the time and agreed. How would you put and relate the same, bringing it to e-learning? Yeah, I think this is a good question. I think one of it is we have so many faculty in our schools. If we get them to share, to work together. I've been in an institution where we had 17 different locations, and I was managing two of the colleges there, and I have around 300 faculty. Each course I have around 20, 25 faculty teaching the same course. So it was easier to get them to work together and say, okay, this is our plan. I will develop learning outcome for this one. I'll create this video, whatever. Other group will create. Some people are good in creating content, but others are good in evaluating it and testing it and giving feedback. Not everybody has to be the content creator. So if you have really a good number of faculty, let them come with a plan and share the development of the curriculum and have a mechanism to help. Someone are good in English language, they can look at it, fix the problems. Others who are good in using software to create some stories. Others are good in creating some learning challenges and scenarios and things for the student, and let them work together as in a team. And that's maybe a smart way. I'm not sure if that one of it, that will help everyone. The other thing, don't do everything in one go. Just start by the core things. Look at the areas that the student really having challenge with it, or maybe that will have a huge impact on your student learning, improve the focus on that first one, or the issues that you're facing, like, I don't know, maybe attendance, maybe motivation. As he said in the video, motivation maybe cannot be solved using technology, but sometimes maybe it can. But look at the problem you have and focus on those things, maybe. And then next iteration, go to the next one and go to the other one instead of doing everything in one go. What about writing and reading skills? It is difficult to improve them while using remote learning. I think it's how it's difficult. Maybe it's difficult. I don't want to debate that one. But if I give student writing work now, assume we have a class for 1 hour, and I can say each one of you need to start writing about this issue, and they do it, and I have access to what they're doing, and using, for example, OneNote, where each student has his own folder in that OneNote. So I can go inside and see what they have done, give them some feedback. With Zoom and some technologies, you can have now one-to-one meeting with the student while the other group are working with their own. You don't disturb them. So they have a breakout group, which you create a breakout group. A student want to talk to you, he comes to that group, and then you give him, or maybe you bring him to that group and talk to him. There's some mechanism in place you can do. Writing, I think the most thing about writing, I just look at myself, is getting feedback. More feedback you get from the instructor and advices and challenges and writing more and fixing more writing, that can help. So you need that interaction. It's very important. And I know you're saying it's difficult to do it because you lack that interaction, which you usually do it in the classroom. It's easier. But again, with the technology, if you think of those breakout and those things, you can still do that. And you should be able to do it if you think. The future of education will have to evolve according to the current context of school. Apart from the technology, what else to anticipate into the education? Yeah, I think the student themselves will change. Yeah, I think our age, my age, let me say that was a different age. We had different environment. We have different way of learning at that time. We don't have all those distractions and technology. I think the way the student will learn and interact within the future will change. Again, technology has some impact on it, but also people accumulate different practices and then become attach it to certain way of doing things. I think students themselves will be different. Teachers ourselves also, younger teachers will come and younger teachers, they will also change. The industry requirement and also the jobs, and maybe looking at certification and qualification in a different way. People sometimes were talking about this macro learning, and it's changing a little bit and becoming only for working people, not for everyone, but others will come where becomes the practice is more. For me, I can see maybe in the future, as we discussed last time, the school time will not be a time where you just lecture and explain things. Will be where you spend time working with the student on real life problem that they need to solve and interact with each other and do things like that. So that's some of the things. I think the economy will change, the new technologies again will change, requirement and accreditation. So many things will be happening in the future. What about the futures of education process? Yeah, I think, I don't know exactly what you mean by education process there, but if you think about the system we have now, where you have KG and those different levels, will they change in the future? That one thing. Again, maybe if you're talking about the curriculum and assessment and certificates again, and is that going to change? That could change, as you said, if the requirement in the US, they just, Trump signed something a few months ago that when you employ someone, the qualification is not really the main thing, what that person will bring in terms of attitude, ability to solve problem and do things. Yes, we are, as educator, we believe if someone has those, has a good, those skills, he will be successful also in education as well. If he's not successful in education, maybe he doesn't have those skills, but maybe he's not motivated. Maybe the education system is not the right thing for him. This is a big debate subject, which will take us time. How can we make the learning environment more agile and responsive I think curriculum design, if our curriculum is responsive, we have some elective that we can change from time to time. The sequencing of our course is important. If our faculty are equipped and trained and ready, our leadership also as well, so we can have more ability to be more agile and maybe can change based on the requirement. But also we are governed by accreditation that sometimes they themselves take time to change. So we cannot just ignore them. I like your questions, but if we go this way, we still have half an hour, but I have lots of work for you to do after this one. Okay, writing and reading for KG and grade 1, teachers have to provide help and actually support. I agree with you. I think the lower grades will become more challenging to do e-learning only. You need that social interactions, guidance, support, and all those things, which is very important, in my opinion. A curriculum for primary students that are based on socialization and play are dry challenges to achieve the e-learning. Now I'm afraid that if I skip a question, someone will say, you skipped my question because you don't like my question, but we need to proceed. Sorry, I'll come back to those. I'm not sure if Menti will keep those questions for the next slide. I just move to the next slide to see if the same questions are there. Yes, they are still there, so I can still answer them. Okay, marketing. This is your marketing team. We need to make advantage of this one for your organization, for your enrollment, for your community. The objective is just to get people how this will benefit the society, will benefit the student, will benefit the parents, and what opportunities it provides for them as well. So they need to come with that. Also, they need to start thinking of the impact on enrollment and all those different things. Okay, this is your question. Now I have question for you. If you are working on your school strategy, what are the components that you will include? Now I put those in components. These are the components, but which of it you will include? You have the option to choose more than one. So we need to see those who will stay with everyone. Now I'm sure there are other components you would like to include. We'll come back to that later. But from those 7, 8 components, we will have a steering committee, we'll have a strategy and organization group, we have a curriculum, technology, finance, governance and accreditation, staff, teachers, and the marketing. We as educators, sometimes we ignore the marketing things. That's not our core thing. But it's good, I can see some people having marketing there. Curriculum, yeah, the largest one so far is the curriculum and learning journey. Can be curriculum, assessment, content, all of it. As we discussed, we said this include everything. Staff and teacher skills development, yes, it is core. Technology is there. Strategy and organization, yes. Yeah. I'll wait until I see around 80. Okay, while you do that, you're doing it, and I can go to the questions. That's one thing. Curriculum for primary students are based on the socialization, the right challenges to achieve in the e-learning. Yeah, I agree with that. That's we said that on the previous answers about writing. Think of the future skills needed. Okay. Keyboarding, yeah, I think you bring a really nice thing. Keyboarding skills will be mode of writing and communication, maybe handwriting. Yeah, I think it will be different things. Audio, voice recognitions and talking to the device will be one thing. For me, when I type on my Galaxy Note, I use the pen to write and it recognizes my writing. I find it more convenient than just typing the keys. And I think hands writing, maybe the student will avoid it, but maybe they will start using it more. I think the voice will grow more. People will use voice more than anything in the future. Will it be a fully paperless education, including? I think will be less paper. Okay, will be more paperless, and I think that doesn't make a difference if the student can still write on anything, on a device, on a paper or anything. That's still okay. If we still have that thing, write, design, structure, think, whatever. In time, the face of education will change, but for now, many are experiencing. Yes, I agree. We are tired of sitting in front of these computers long time. So that's thing, but there are practices to help us deal with that one. But I have to say that some people, yes, they keep saying that. They are tired of it and the fatigue and all those things. But when you ask them come back to the campus, to the school, they will not do it. So we have to be honest with ourselves. May we need assessment tools for online? Yeah, there are assessment tools that have cameras and artificial intelligence, and some would allow also writing and designing and doing things. But they are so we have a gap between current curriculum and technology method. It's yeah, I think this is the pedagogy part of it and the training of faculty. How can we make up for what students have missed? See the recording of the things and offline assignment where to give them instant feedback, not only those multiple choice. There's so many tools. If you look at H5P, and the variety of tools that it provide and scenarios that it does, so many things they can student do, which get them to for example, explore different technologies and go through different pathways and create a scenario-based. These things can help. How we can minimize the distractions of middle school and secondary students. I think this is a big challenge in my opinion. We need support from parents, and we need to get some way of making students do work rather than listen to us. And group, breakout groups, some work the students need to do. I think that will help. We looked at co-spaces before. It allowed them to design a game or a solution using programming and virtual reality, and students will love those things. It's what they do every day, they're playing. So that's like a playing, but it's not good for everything as well. How to make all these components aligned. Okay, we'll come to that one. Okay, sorry for skipping some. Only one question is skipped. Now we're looking at this one. I think you are really aligning with I was thinking. I expected faculty and staff development is a core, and for sure, because they are the one who do the whole thing. And then the curriculum is important, and development technology is important, and also having a unit to manage the strategy executions and the development executions and all the other components seem important. So what else, what other components will you consider adding to the plan? I'm sure some of you will be merging those together, yeah? Putting the two together and three and creating one and getting them focused, and some others will keep them like that. But if you want to add other components, Annie, give you just a counter here to say 1 minute to do this, if you come with a new one. Teamworks, how we can create a component for teamwork. Is that part of the professional development side? Yeah, I think it is. School environment and staff morale. I think that's a very important one. Should that be into the, where it can be added if it's possible, or maybe bring it on its own. Well-being, yeah, related to the same one. Student behavior plan. Now I think we're coming with we have a component or a unit that deal with this thing. So many of it, I can be repeating the same thing. The moral is a number of time, teamwork is there multiple of time, I agree with it. I think staff development we already included, and partnership, and okay, done. Very good, thank you for that. Okay, now current state assessment. You need to start somewhere to assess yourself. So first one, you come with looking at the SWOT analysis. Some people, like anything in this life, people have ideas of is the SWOT analysis good or bad technique, but I think it's good to help you know where you are, and you must use your strength and opportunities to overcome any weaknesses or threats you have. Strengths are local, internal in your organization, inside. They are not outside. Opportunities are outside. Weaknesses are inside, and threats are outside. So these two are happening outside you, like change in regulations or something like that. And these are things inside, which you have, for example, your staff here, maybe here you lack having articulated policy and things like that. So these are the things you need to do that one. Now, if I ask you to get just an idea about the general population we have now, what do you think are the current strengths in terms of being ready for e-learning and being able to achieve an e-learning or online learning or virtual school strategy? What are those current strengths that you have? This is one of the reasons why I didn't ask you for your name, because I want just this to be very general to get an idea of what everybody thinks are the strengths we have. And that helps us to see if we are aligned with what we think together. I can see experienced staff, and this is great. Yeah, I think our staff and your staff as well. Excellent using of IT technology, again, good infrastructures. Yeah, UAE really has great infrastructure, and your schools also seem to have strong high-tech infrastructure related teachers, resilience, yeah, and adaptability. This is important for us when we are asked to go into distance learning as Abu Dhabi University. Our faculty responded too fast. Yes, we have those technologies in place and we're using it for different things, but going a scale where the students are not there and everything will happen there. So they took it seriously and they moved faster. And all the teachers, I think, everywhere have done similar thing. Open mind, vision, training, flexible and open mind. Okay, that's similar. Experience after, yeah, this one became really a strength. The pandemic gave us those experience. I agree with you. Innovation, analysis, digital competencies and technology, ICT, time management, qualified staff, leadership, استعداد لقبول الغير, very good. Technology, very good. Thank you for that. Yeah, I can group them later. I need to use some tools to summarize this one. By the way, we're uploading this to our portal, which that the questions I need to answer quickly. Okay, how to access the portal. Now, next one, thank you for that. What are the weaknesses now? The strength, but always there are some weaknesses. Again, they are internal. This is a weakness. Okay, what are those weaknesses we have? Skill gaps, time management, limited time. Time is a big thing. Lack of internet. Yeah, okay. I think you may be thinking some of the kids maybe don't have the internet. That can be an issue, but the government gave those internet voucher that time and different things. Lack of good infrastructures, yeah, was a strength somewhere. People saying, yes, we have good infrastructure. Other schools in other places, this is the weakness they have. There's nothing one size fit all, but that's something. Streamlining, I think, is that streaming the curriculum or streamlining the process and work we do? Again, limited time is again, group management and unnecessary parental, okay, where's that one again? Yeah, interference during the lesson. Yeah, I think that's an issue. Was happening at the beginning and maybe later hopefully went down. Frequent internet issue, engagement of learners and time, shift in assessment and data. Okay, that's good. I think we had good enough. We had 58, 59. That's very good. Now, what are the opportunities? These are external around us in the environment, into somewhere that will help the school in its goals. This is external. There are some opportunities happening that we need ADEC support. This is excellent. ADEC support is there and guidance and processes they put in place to ensure safety of student and operation of academic, government support, unified training. I think this may be provided also external training and professional development. Again, think these are external. If this training development done internally, that's not really included. But I think you're saying there's so many opportunities for getting training and professional development from our side, like what we're doing in Abu Dhabi University. There are hopefully others who are doing similar thing. And there are so many MOOC courses and things there. MOA support, that's good, excellent. Infrastructures, this is a government infrastructure, it is allowed, do, and all those infrastructure we have in place really make it very easy to move and do things. Then shared vision, okay, very good. In the government, I agree with that. PD for external, yes, professional development. These are great things that we had, which we should use more and more to help us address the weakness. For example, if we have a weakness, some of our faculty are not ready, and there are professional development there. So in our strategy, let's make use of that one to get help. If there are support with infrastructures and where we can get some maybe less costly technology or thing, let's use that one and things like that. I think it's mostly around the infrastructure, the training and professional development, support of government, ADEC and the government. These are the things we can see. Budget, this is internal mostly, unless you say the government is providing funding, which happen for the government schools. Okay, the last one are those things that will maybe cause us an issue in the futures. Maybe, what are those threats that we can maybe feel they coming and they will cause us some issues in the futures. Yeah. Poor planning of curriculum activities. Is this happening in the school? If that's become a weakness, is not a threat. Yeah, a threat has to be something from outside. For example, COVID-19, it became threats, maybe opportunity. It became opportunity for e-learning, absolutely, but became threats on terms of the operation of the schools and other things. Financial support, lack of financial support, maybe you mean here? But financial support should not be a threat, should be something really good. Lack of student disengagement, yes. Student approach to virtual learning, okay, that's again related to that. Lack of parental support, poor and unauthorized usage of technology. Extreme competition between teacher technology providers. That should be an opportunity maybe, because you have now Zoom, you have Teams, you have Schoology, you have Blue, so many things are there. So you can use all those things. That will be an opportunity to help you. I feel it's a threat in terms of maybe you need to learn all this and know which one you should use, and the choice, I think that maybe can be what you're thinking of. Skip, I didn't understand. That's to me maybe to skip it and go to the next one. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, now once you do that, now each component, we have those components, we said you have component of curriculum, okay. They need to come with functions. I know you all have strategy, I'm sure you went through this one, or maybe it's something that you can look at it. So the curriculum, for example, what are the key functions of that committee? What are the key functions they will do? For example, selecting the courses that will go through development, or the learning outcome development, and maybe coming with the learning journey, putting it there. These are, you need to come with all those functions. That component will be working on it to ensure they are going to produce their strategy at the end. So this, some of it, maybe if you want to skip it, we will skip it. See, time is only have 8 minutes, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But you can start thinking of some of those functions for each component of those 6 components. And then you start, the next step is start evaluating it, how ready you are for that function. Are we ready? For example, we want to create responsive, engaging curriculum. Where are we in that one? Do we have the processes in place? Do we have the instructional design components? The assessment, for example, the assessment. Now, assessment, are we ready to get our assessment to the next level? Where are we now in terms of, that's what will come to it. I think you do this one. I think this will be useful. So think of the function. I agree, assessment is one. Evidence of formative and summative assessment. Again, that's more specific. Live lessons, the synchronous learning, we call it in terms of technology, vertical and horizontal planning. Yes, proper assessment tools, assessment, more problem solving, these things. Okay, that's good. I think we'll move, skip. Next one, what are the key functions that we need? We're not going to do all of them. We'll do only 3 of them. So assessment, curriculum, I looked at it, which include assessment, the technology, and one more. So in terms of technology, the technology component, what they should be, their functions they will work on. Yes, updating, updating their technology and making them up to date and ready for the challenge. So that's one. But before updating it, they maybe need to run an assessment of that one. Yes, which came assessment of the software. Sometimes not only software, also the infrastructure, their servers, data storage, those things are in place as well. The policies that govern all those things need to be also there. Having cost-effective, bring in more interactive software, and so on. Okay, skip. The last one, faculty development, which is the most important, staff and teachers. What are the key functions this committee need to work on it to ensure that they produce the outcome needed? This one, I think you will love it. I'll keep it. You do that. I will just look at your. Yeah, I agree. Okay. Focus on social and emotional. Yeah, we said that one. Yeah. I think that's kindergarten is face-to-face is important, I think, because it's a development time and it's needed. Technology can do little in that, but not enough, I think. Yes, unless in the future they come with, don't say I'm crazy, come with a robot who will have those emotional things and be at home and play with. There are some of those toys now that kids can talk to them and they react to them, and so some emotional part of it that can come in the future. Don't say this will not come. It might come, and nobody was believing that what we have now will happen at some time. Even if talk to Einstein or someone will not. I didn't skip that question. I think I answered it. Learning technology is expensive and it changes so fast. Yeah. Now, see, the core tools didn't change for a long time. If you look at, for example, Blackboard or Moodle, if you look at it 10 years ago and now, you will not find a huge difference between the two. Still almost the same, only few surfaces additional added, but not that huge thing. I think the core will stay with you for some time. You will not change them every day. If you look at the learning management system, will not change it every day. YouTube and videos and those things we'll use will not change. Interactive tools, which we're looking at them now, is becoming not that expensive and available there. Authoring tools did not change hugely since long time. they made some improvement. Storyline and Captivate is there since 2000. And now a little bit became more mobile friendly. Thing like that. So the change is not really that huge because again, they follow the education system somehow and it takes time to change things. Core things will not change. Don't jump on everything. Like those smart board, people brought smart board with no strategy in place. And then it became in the classroom, people using it like a projections, a screen without any benefit. Again, the development of faculty and training is important. In that. I think it is important to revisit and enhance teacher program. Yes, teachers are the core. If teachers do not believe in this and they cannot really use technology, they will find 100 excuses saying why this doesn't work. Because sometimes I do that because I don't understand how to really use it. And I say, oh, this doesn't, but let me get into that one and train me, and then I will change my mind. I will come and say, no, it works. But also you need some other thing, leadership and other things. How poor planning curriculum activities is not yeah, I think people can add this one if you want, but this is internal. It become a weakness. If your curriculum is not properly created, it's a weakness because you caused that one or your organization caused that one, not people from outside. Unless you're saying, oh, no, this is, I'm following the ministry curriculum and it's not designed properly. If that's your case, I don't think it's the case. I think curriculum may be designed properly, but maybe issues with other things. Again, it's not my area that I'm closer to it and I know it better, but I think the curriculum is, from what I'm seeing, is really good. But if it is not, then become a threat. Absolutely, you're right. And you have to follow it as well. Okay, without skilled leaders, nothing will be, I agree, leaders has to, again, it doesn't have to be skilled in terms of he's able to create an animation or 3D game or virtual reality, but it should be skills on leading the team and get them do that and willing to learn these things and come closer to it. Not look at it, oh, this is IT, and IT is a lower level. I'm not going to get into those technical details. No, he need to come or she need to come closer to it to a certain level. To appreciate it and understand it and know the challenges people are facing and the opportunities are there to help others do it. But if you keep, I know some leaders, they think, oh, no, this is technology. No, you cannot say that because it's a core. It's now part of the whole thing. It's not the solution, but it is part of the solution. If you ignore it, then you are not preparing your student or you're not bringing the same service with the right student. You're still bringing a solution for the past generation, not the current generation. Okay, how to get the component to work together? Again, the leader of that component of that project is responsible of that and having regular meeting. They meet, say, every other 2 weeks or 3 weeks. The steering committee meets every month to review and look at the progress. It requires lots of work. But again, you need to do it in a way, sorry for that, without just making it a process nightmare. It should focus on the outcome and get agile solution. And the agile solution doesn't mean the fast solution here. If you look at the terminology from technology side, no. The agile is you provide a service to the users quickly, yes, but it's a small component. And instead of converting the whole curriculum, let's convert this learning outcome that are challenging for the student. And let's do them first and then move to the next one, then move to the next one. Yeah, this way the user will see the impact, student will see the impact, faculty will see, the parent will see the impact, and then you learn from it, and the next one you do, you'll do it better than the previous one. Okay, now the last thing you need to do, you need to go and put all those functions in a sheet like this. You write them here, and then look at your assessment. Are you at the beginner or at the stable level or the intermediate or in the advanced or the innovative one? We put just some definition here for it, but this definition is our definition. Your definition can be completely different. For example, if you see here the assessment, maybe your definition is those assessment has to be all online. For example, I'm just saying maybe, and using artificial intelligence to evaluate them and get the responsive feedback to the student, and they are linked directly to the learning outcome, and you get a reporting of all areas that students are weak on it, and faculty able to review the artificial intelligence grading thing and sit with the student, something like that. So you can be a different completely definition of what innovative can be in assessment. It cannot be technology. Sometimes it's not technology. Sometimes it's a process you come with, is innovative process that will produce a greater outcome, engagement, outcomes of student learning, and things like that. So that's all to you. You decide what does mean each one for you. We just gave here a high level one. So I'll stop there. Now you're asking me how you can get to the portal. Sorry if I didn't answer all the questions that we had. I think I answered all of them, but the questions here I did not answer. But I think I answered so many questions. Now, the portal, we have our community portal, which we will, let me find how I can get there now. Here is our community portal. Let me do this. Community, yeah. Now, maybe you have a challenge with finding your username and password. If you have a challenge, please write to Khulud. Khulud should be able to help you with this one. And she will, I'm sure she will. Or you can write to me as well. So we gave you a username and password. You received, some of you who registered, we didn't do it for everyone. We created a code that when you register through Zoom, it sends you an email with your username and password. But we created that one after around 70 people registered. So there are 70 did not get that one. Now, if you don't have a code, you just come to the portal, click here, then you'll find here, create a new account. You can create any account. Now, if you create an account and you get a message, this email have been used before, means you already have account. You can request sending you the password. You click on this one. So this one will send you the password. Once you get there, let me log in and show you what I will get. Okay. Okay. So this is the portal. When you get there, there are so many things. This is what I was talking about today, students who finished their project. You can come here and you find this Future Schools 2030. If you click on it, you will get into this page. So when you come here, you will find all the recording of the previous sessions are here. And this is the reading material the people, faculty has put for you. And these are the other, this is my last one. I'm going to link a few things. I'm going to link this one here today, and you have a last one next week coming. So you find all these things here in this. Those of you using Moodle, this is using Moodle. We're using Blackboard in the university, but we said to make it easier for people who are external, because if you use Blackboard, you need to have ADU username and password complicated. We created Moodle, and Moodle is very nice. This is the latest version of Moodle to do that. There is another place you can see the videos if you don't want to go through that one. Yeah, assume you're having challenge getting there. You're still having some challenge getting there. Okay, you can go to YouTube. You're getting an email from me every day almost when I upload something. If you're not getting email, that means you registered with the wrong email address. There's no way we can reach you. If you didn't register with the right email address, then we will not be able to reach you. Sorry for that. It's you have to use the right email address that can help us reach you. Otherwise, we cannot. So if you go to YouTube, there is a channel on YouTube. I'll just share with you now the link to that channel. This is our channel, which again, we created especially for those workshops. And it has all the videos, which since we started, we have more than 100 videos, but we still did not upload all of them because we created this channel recently. So if this is the link, I'll put it in the chat. If you click on it, you will get there, you will find all these videos we have done. Every time we do, we put it there. But please make sure you give us the right email address. Okay, so thank you very much. I enjoyed talking to you today. I hope you find this session useful, and next week will be the last one where we will conclude this one. And then we will give you information about the new workshops that will come soon. I can see someone raising hand. I don't want to miss giving you a chance to speak. Doha, go ahead. Unmute your microphone if you want to speak. Ramiz, also you can unmute your microphone and speak if you want.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Hamad. I've been listening to all the modules, yeah, and from Petra and the other doctor as well, and also you. Your session has been definitely way more interactive than others. I think you were concentrating more on feedbacks, as in, you wanted people to actually respond and give their inputs. Yeah. And you were actually, driving with the inputs. You did have a strategy, but you kind of took route where the students were actually interested in. So that's a good thing, especially with this digital age and how this is happening. But my question there is, we all see this materials and what we want to teach and what we want the students to learn, how they learn, the measurements that we do, assessments, how we are evaluating them, everything. But how are we going to inculcate the moral ethics, the moral values into the students? Let's say even now, see, the culture in this Arab region is very different. It's not like in India or in UK or in US. It's very different. The family values probably is kind of similar to the Indian subcontinent, but it's the otherwise the culture of how you listen to someone, how you talk to someone is all different. Though the like an organizational structure, the family structure is mostly similar. There is someone who is elder, you respect them. All of that is there. But when it comes to a stranger, it's quite different, even to a teacher. Yeah. So I think we are all aware of that. But how do we put this moral part into our curriculum? Let's not talk about showing them videos, giving them assignments, but even in school, we were trying to put in or bring out humans rather than someone who is high-scoring students. Yeah. So based on these, or how do you think we can achieve this? Probably even, let's say, 50% of going into distance and 50% coming into school. What do you think we should do? What do you think the government should do to support us? What do you think as teachers, as family, as yourself, what should we do? What do you think we should do, or what do you think is the right way to approach this?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think as we discussed last time, I think the time the students spend in the school is important for building those skills, which I agree with you. Challenging to do them through distance. You can maybe help a little bit putting those scenarios or project or mixing them in a group or thing like that. But they need to experience that one face to face. And I don't think there is a way we can just have zero face to face. It's not going to work to achieve those important competencies like the moral, the ethic, the trust, the ability to communicate with people and work as a team and stuff like that. Small percentage maybe can be achieved, but the school's time, it has to be there. And we need to create those social interactions in a face-to-face manner to help with this. This is why the distance learning on its own will not sustain, and the government creating those opportunities. I'm sure when the vaccines become there and we have more control, inshallah, of this COVID-19, the face-to-face will come back. Will not be the only mode, but that's where those activities should happen. And I think it's a responsibility on everyone to build those values you're talking about, which is related to the moral and trust and things like that. The parents has to play a role on that one. But we cannot do it, I agree with you completely, we cannot do it through distance learning. It has to be element of face-to-face to ensure that is happening. Doha, thank you for your question, Ramiz, and feedback as well. Doha, I think you need to unmute if you want to speak. Otherwise, I think, thank you everyone. Have a great time and see you next time, inshallah.